Welcome back to PS Choudhary. Articles 5 to 9 settled who was a citizen on the first day. But what about everyone born after that? What about foreigners who want to become Indian? What about children of Indian parents born abroad? For all of these situations, Parliament passed the Citizenship Act in 1955, and this act gives 5 methods of acquiring Indian citizenship. Every single one of these 5 methods has been tested in UPSC exams. Let us understand each one completely. Before we go into the methods, I want you to understand one big shift that happened in Indian citizenship law over the decades. When India's constitution came into force, India followed what is called jus soli, which means citizenship by birth on the territory. If you were born on Indian soil, you were an Indian citizen. Simple and inclusive. But over time, this principle was progressively weakened. The reason was growing concern about illegal immigration. Parliament amended the Citizenship Act in 1986 and again through the Citizenship Amendment of 2003. Today, India follows much more of a jus sanguinis approach, which means citizenship by blood or descent, meaning who your parents are matters more than where you were born. This shift has important social and constitutional implications that we will discuss as we go through each method. Method 1 is citizenship by birth, which is under Section 3 of the Citizenship Act. The rule here changed dramatically across 3 different periods. If you were born in India between the 26th of January, 1950 and the 1st of July, 1987, you were automatically an Indian citizen by birth regardless of who your parents were. Pure jus soli. Place of birth was everything. If you were born in India between the 1st of July, 1987 and the 3rd of December, 2004, you were an Indian citizen by birth if at least one of your parents was an Indian citizen at the time of your birth. Both parents did not need to be citizens, but at least one had to be. If you were born in India on or after the 3rd of December, 2004, the rule became even stricter. You are an Indian citizen by birth only if at least one of your parents is a citizen of India and the other parent is not an illegal migrant. Both conditions must be met together. So the trend is clear. Birthplace alone is no longer sufficient. Your parents' citizenship status matters significantly, especially post-2004. Method 2 is citizenship by descent, under Section 4. If you were born outside India, you can still acquire Indian citizenship by descent if at least one of your parents was an Indian citizen at the time of your birth. But there are registration requirements. The birth must be registered at an Indian consulate within 1 year. And if your parent was themselves a citizen only by descent, you need the government's permission. This method is very relevant for the large Indian diaspora, meaning families that have been living abroad for generations but maintain Indian roots. Method 3 is citizenship by registration, under Section 5. This method covers several different categories of people. A person of Indian origin who has been resident in India for 7 years can register. A person of Indian origin residing outside India can also register. The spouse of an Indian citizen who has been married to that citizen for 7 years can apply. The minor child of an Indian citizen can also register. And a person who has held overseas citizen of India status for 5 years and has been resident in India for 1 year can register. The 7-year marriage requirement for a spouse is very directly tested in exams. Students sometimes assume that simply being married to an Indian citizen is enough. It is not. The marriage must have been in existence for 7 years. Method 4 is citizenship by naturalization, under Section 6. This is for foreigners who want to become Indian citizens without any Indian origin or connection. The requirements are quite demanding. The person must have resided in India for 12 months immediately before the application. And during the 14 years before that 12-month period, the person must have been resident in India for a total of 11 of those 14 years. So the combined requirement is roughly 11 years of residence over a 14-year period, plus 1 year immediately before applying. The applicant must also be of good character, must give up their previous citizenship, must have knowledge of a language specified in the 8th schedule of the Constitution, and must intend to remain in India or serve under the Crown. There is an important exception. The government can waive the residence requirement for persons who have rendered distinguished service to science, philosophy, art, literature, world peace, or human progress. This allows India to grant citizenship to truly exceptional individuals without requiring them to live in India for 11 years. Method 5 is citizenship by incorporation of territory, under Section 7. When a new territory becomes part of India, the persons living in that territory acquire Indian citizenship. The government specifies this through a notification. A historical example is when Goa was incorporated into India in 1961. The people of Goa became Indian citizens through this method. Now let me give you the memory anchor for these 5 methods. The first letters of birth, descent, registration, incorporation, and naturalization spell out BDRIN. You can remember it as BDRIN. And for naturalization, remember the 11 plus 1 rule. 11 years of residence over 14 years, plus 1 year continuously immediately before applying. Now here is your MCQ for today. Which of the following correctly describes the residential requirement for citizenship by naturalization for a foreigner with no Indian origin? Option 1. 5 years of continuous residence in India immediately before applying. Option 2. 7 years of residence in India within the last 10 years, plus 1 year immediately before applying. Option 3. 11 years of residence within the 14 years preceding the application, plus 1 year of continuous residence immediately before applying. Option 4. 15 years of residence anywhere in the world with demonstrated Indian cultural connections. Think carefully. The correct answer is option 3. For citizenship by naturalization, the requirement is 11 years of residence in India within the 14 years immediately preceding the date of application, plus 12 months of continuous residence in India immediately before applying. This totals a substantial residential commitment. Options 1, 2, and 4 all state incorrect periods and conditions. That is it for this video. Next video we cover how Indian citizenship can be lost. See you there.